Y'all's niece is there sunbathing in the background. What is up, my YouTube family? Welcome back to my channel. If this is your first time here, then it's just welcome to my channel. Now, welcome back. Go ahead and hit the subscribe button because you will not be disappointed. And if so, it's probably a you thing. Yeah, definitely. Y'all, I did not forget to update y'all on the glamping trip, but I'm gonna do it after the case. So without any type of hold up today, let's get right into the case we will be discussing today. Maria Cruz, born in the Philippines, moves to New York City for college and later finds success as a financial analyst. And she is really liking it in New York, so she decides to become a U.S. citizen and settles into the Upper West Side and into her American dream. And all is going well for Maria until April 16th of 2003, a welfare check is requested for the now 35-year-old once her family is notified by her job that she has not shown up to work for the third day in a row. Now, when police arrive to her apartment, she is not there, and a stack of mail at her front door implies that she has not been there for a couple of days. They officially list her as a missing person and launch an investigation into her disappearance. Now, through surveillance footage and her bank account activity, they can determine that she had gone to church on Sunday morning and afterward had made a stop by her office, and she had made it to her office around 1 p.m. But after leaving her office, nothing. No one spoke to her or saw her. There is no bank activity, nothing. Maria has seemingly disappeared. Investigators request a search warrant for her email account, but it takes 5 months before it is granted. And in that time, they don't receive any tips, any leads, and no more evidence surfaces. And the search of her email reveals that Maria had an appointment scheduled for 5:30 p.m. on the day that she had gone missing with her dermatologist, 43-year-old Dean Faiello. Now, this dermatologist runs an establishment called Skinovations, which is a medical spa offering laser hair removal of scars and moles as long as they're not cancerous. The problem is this doctor, he is operating on patients whether you really got cancer or not. And an even bigger problem is that Mr. Dean here is not actually a doctor. He never even completed school, although he is very intelligent and was voted most likely to succeed. And after quitting school, he actually found work in construction, and he did that job for a little bit, but not long after that, he is employed at a day spa where he becomes a very skilled hair remover. While he's working there, he builds up his clientele and stacks up his money. And in 1996, he opens his own establishment without a license to do so. Now, his medical spa, Skinovation, also offers blood vessel removal, tattoo removal, facials, electrolysis, all of the things, everything just about. There's a lot going on. And his credentials are listed on his site as having a master's of science as well as being a certified professional electrologist. And of course, neither are valid. Now, he'd really gotten the certification for electrolysis, but he had failed to earn the credits required to maintain it. But he does not let that stop him from advertising it, okay? And no one questions his credentials because he is extremely charismatic. He is extremely intelligent. He's handsome, child, and is definitely given medical professional. He is very convincing. Now, despite not really having the credentials required to run such an establishment, he is able to reel in a very high-end clientele. And his clientele is very loyal. They have no idea who and what their doctor truly is. 2 years into his practice, he is charged with possession of a controlled substance, forgery, and possession of a forged instrument, which would be his fake credentials, most likely. And for these charges, he takes a plea deal that would put him on probation for 3 years. Then in October of 2002, the New York Post posts a bombshell investigative article about this fake doctor that is practicing without a license and how he has lasered cancerous growths off of people, telling them that they did not have skin cancer when they actually did. He is arrested just 2 days after this article is published on 3 counts of practicing without a medical license, and he is subsequently released out on bail under the condition that he ceases his practice. Now, he agrees to stop his little procedures, but he continues to conduct them out of an apartment. Now, who is still showing up to this man at an apartment? I don't know, because I just don't think there is that much charisma in the world. However, it happened. He is currently living with his partner Greg, who paid his lawyer fees and bailed him out of jail. And his partner Greg did all of this, I'm sure because he loved him, but also expecting to get some of this money back because Dean has decided to sell his home. He sells his house for $400,000 and refuses to give Greg back any of his money that he had spent bailing him out and on his lawyer. And at this point, Greg is like, I'm out of here. Like, this is the final straw. You're very selfish. You have $400,000 in your pocket, and I just cannot believe you're not going to give me at least the money that I invested into your freedom. So at this point, Greg ends the relationship, kicks Dean out, and Dean goes to live on his friend Mark's couch for a little bit. But over time, Mark starts to notice that things are going missing, things of value. When he realizes that Dean has been swindling and swiping, he is pissed and he decides to kick Dean out and later finds a duffel bag that Dean had left behind. This bag has some of his belongings and some of Maria Cruz's belongings. There is her purse, her wallet, and an address book all inside of this duffel bag. But aware that this is a missing woman, he does not want to get involved at all and decides to keep his findings to himself. Now, when Dean's court date comes up, he fails to appear, and police don't know where he is. They contact Greg first because Greg is the person that had bailed him out, of course, and Greg lets them know that, he was stealing from me. He got his little money and was acting funny, and I kicked him out. And little does anyone know, little Dean here has made his way all the way to Costa Rica. He too had seen news spread about her disappearance and had taken that 5-month period of them waiting on the search warrant to be granted to search her emails. He had taken that as a 5-month head start. Dean has been living it up beachside at a nice villa where the staff knows him as this rich doctor who shells out $100 tips left and right. They let his ex-partner Greg know that he is wanted in connection with Maria's disappearance. And this makes Greg recall Dean purchasing a large amount of semen back in April, which is the same month that Maria had gone missing. Now at this point, they don't want to run the risk that it'll take another 5 months or better to get a search warrant for the current owners of his previous home. So they basically just go tapping on the front door and ask the current owners, can we dig up your garage? Because it might just be a body there. The current homeowners actually agreed to allow them to dig up the garage where there was a very large and fairly new concrete slab there. So they have that removed, and underneath is a suitcase containing Maria's nearly 9-month-old remains. As news spreads about the discovery of Maria's remains and Dr. Dean's association, his face is plastered all across the news and even reaches the local newspapers in Costa Rica. Now, the manager of the villa that he has been staying at sees this newspaper and recognizes him. Dean is floating around the pool with a cocktail when immigration officials arrive to arrest him, but they're actually not there to arrest him in connection with Maria Cruz. They are there to arrest him for overstaying his visa. Now, detectives back in New York, they are excited when they hear that he has been detained in Costa Rica, and they want him back in their custody as soon as possible. But little Dean here had hired a lawyer to fight his extradition. And in the meantime, he is offered to pay a local Costa Rican couple to adopt him because Costa Rica citizens cannot be extradited. And this couple actually agrees to adopt him. Now, unfortunately for little Dean, they don't act quick enough. He loses his appeal and is extradited back to New York before he can officially be adopted. And at this point, y'all, he just decides to waive the white flag. He accepts a plea deal for a lesser charge of first-degree assault and gives the details of exactly what had happened to her that day and everything that happened thereafter. And the judge calls his actions heartless, senseless, and depraved. This was Maria's 12th session removing scars from her thighs, and she was unaware that he was not a licensed doctor. Now, he admits to being both high and drunk during her session, and she is experiencing a lot of discomfort. This was going to be a very long session. So he gives her more lidocaine than he should have, which was a numbing agent. And unfortunately, she does not respond well. She begins showing signs of medical distress and goes into shock. And instead of dialing 911, he calls a friend of his that is an actual doctor. Now, this doctor friend of his tells him to take her straight to the hospital, like rush her there right now. But he does not want to get in more trouble, so he does not take that advice. And at this point, Maria has gone completely limp. He places his head on her chest to see if she's still breathing, and she is showing no signs of vitality whatsoever. At this point, he panics, takes her body, puts it inside of a suitcase, puts it in the trunk of his car, and drives home. And this suitcase is one of the things that he has stolen from his friend Mark. The suitcase sits in his trunk for 2 days before he takes it out and just sits it on the side in his garage, where it then sits for a couple more weeks. Now, it is not known if she was alive or not at the point in which he put her in the suitcase and in the trunk, and maybe later died inside of the trunk, because he doesn't even know if that's the case or not. So it's definitely a possibility. All this time, he is unsure of what to do with the suitcase, but now that it's been a couple of weeks and it is beginning to put off a very loud and foul odor, he knows that he has to do something with it. The concrete inside of the garage is broken and has been needing repair for quite some time now, and he figures, why not put her beneath the concrete and fix the garage at the same time. And of course, after fixing the garage, that is when he sold his home, moved in with his lover, but then he got kicked out because he didn't want to fork over none of that cash. And as far as his decision to go to Costa Rica, a quote from him: "The same panic and fear I felt when I realized Maria passed away, that returned. I just reacted, grabbed my stuff, and fled." He knew that he had known several people who knew about his connection to her and was afraid that somebody might drop a little dime on him. So when he started to see news articles about her disappearance, he knew he had to get out of there. A nice memorial is held for Maria in New York City, after which her parents take her remains back to the Philippines with them so that she can have a proper burial. Fake Dr. Dean here accepts a plea deal for a lesser charge of first-degree assault and practicing medicine without a license. For this, he receives a 20-year prison sentence without the possibility of parole, and he serves a little more than 17 years of that before he is granted parole in early 2022. He is said to currently work at a grocery store, keeping a very low profile and living a very simple life. Child, hopefully he ain't out here lasering nobody. I wouldn't even let him take my hair off with Nair. He has said that he got sober in prison and that was good for him. And he has also made a public apology to Maria's family. I want to know what you think about this here public apology. Let me read it to you. "Not a day passes that I do not think of Maria or think of her family and why I acted like such a coward. I hope that I'm no longer the person who took such a risk with Maria's life. I get inspiration from Maria. She was forgiving and supportive, and I like to think that she helped me to transform and atone for what I did to her family, and helping me to become a better person, one day at a time." It's definitely giving me, like, where is the "I'm sorry"? Why don't you speak on their pain? Like, it was just all about him. I thought that was kind of weird. Ain't like that. But child, who are me to tell him how to apologize? I feel like the sun is really playing with my lighting, girl. Do not try it. All right, for those of y'all who care about the glamping trip, let's get into that. Just to tell you what I did, it's like an Airbnb for a tiny house kind of thing. It's like a tiny cabin, tiny house situation. It's called Getaway House. I found them on Instagram and I was like, oh, this is cute. And I have a friend that had done it before. You can go by yourself and unplug, or you can go with a little boo and hunch in the woods. Take the kids on a little camping trip, whatever you want to do. Right? It's a nice, cute little cabin in the woods. Now, little Bella here, she loves a car ride. So she had a time from the moment we got in the truck. And I really expected Blue to like it because he was going to get to go out here and live his stray dog fantasy that he obviously has and has had. But I think this experience quickly let him know that he is not about that stray dog life. And Bella, I knew this going in. Bella let me know probably about 40 minutes that she wanted to go home. Okay? Bella was at the door like, but once I cooked them some chicken thighs on a little grill outside, she was okay. And we basically just spent our time there cooking outside, going on little hikes. They have a huge 1 mile nature trail, but I didn't make them do the whole mile because my dogs ain't really set up like that, okay? They are not set up for a life like that requires a whole lot of prolonged heat and a whole bunch of physical activity. And people were asking me about this fish that I posted on Instagram and whether or not I caught the fish. I did catch the fish on sale at HEB. Okay, it was already seasoned, prepped, and prepared. And y'all had took me a little watermelon out there because that's basically what I live on during the summer. And girl, why I cut my little watermelon up? So I didn't see the sign saying to avoid wildlife and boars, do not leave your trash outside. So yeah, I didn't read none of that. I was on vacation. I wasn't there to read. I was not there to read at all. I put my trash outside in the trash bin that was already outside. It's like, well, you put the trash bin outside if we can't put trash outside, Getaway House. Anywho, I throw my trash out there and girl, why I come outside the next day? Now, first of all, let me just backtrack. Bella was on edge the entire time. She, the first night, did not get any sleep. I said, oh my God, when I get home, my child is going to pass out for 2 days because she's not sleeping. Like, she wasn't making noise, but I could just feel her in the bed, like getting up and moving around. And it was especially noticeable because they don't sleep with me. So it's like, girl, be still. Anytime we go outside, she's like hyper vigilant, looking here, there, and everywhere for any sign of trouble. But when we get a sign of trouble, she don't say nothing. Now, I open up my door on morning 2, or technically the first morning we wake up there, and this is what I see. Something has eaten the watermelon down to the rind and has taken my fish head to go. Okay? Trash bag just completely turned over, right? Now, why Bella want to stand on the stairs looking around like, where is he? Like, let me at him. Girl, with those bionic ears and how you were up, I know you heard him out there. Now, I say it's a bear. And I later saw these tracks on our little thing, our little picnic blanket. And my sister, child, she a hater. She didn't want me to have my full camping bear experience. So she looked it up and she was like, girl, it's just raccoon paws. And I'm like, but if you look right here on your little diagram, it could be a bear, just a certain kind of bear. Then I sent it to my mama for her to break the tie, girl, and she said it was a human hand. I said, oh my. Anyway, yeah, so it was a bear that took the watermelon and the fish head out of the trash, and Bella was literally sitting up, being quiet, and turning a blind eye to the whole thing. Then the following morning, she want to act like she's ready. Girl, and I'm giving her all of this, but Blue didn't respond either. Like, y'all literally let the bear go through our stuff in the middle of the night. That's why they need a daddy, because who gonna protect us? Obviously not them. Or then one day it rained, and so the rain up against that big window was such a vibe. I love that. I had absolutely no complaints. It was very peaceful. I would definitely do it again. Bella came around like halfway through day 2, but she was always a little bit ready to go. She was always sitting on ready the whole time because every time I got close to the Jeep, she would go and put her little paws on the step. Like, all right, come on, girl, let me in here. Open the door, let's go. And while I got y'all on the line, let's talk about these season finales. Did y'all finish From? I'm not going to dive too deep into it at all. Did y'all like the last episode? Because I don't think I did. I feel like if it's true that you die there, that's the only way to really like escape, if that's the thing. Okay, I can live with that. But I really like the idea that Sarah introduced about your nightmare becoming like the reality at the place if you die there. So hopefully that's what's going on, because if this was just somebody's coma, girl, somebody's dream, I'm gonna be upset. okay? I'm gonna want to brawl. And Silo, I had the exact opposite. I love the finale. I love that it was so unpredictable. I might go back and watch the last episode again because I missed something, and apparently I'm the only one that missed it. But my sister and one of you brought it to my attention that when she came out of the ground and went over the hill, there wasn't just the town in the distance. It was multiple silos here and there. And I was like, ooh. I was talking to Brittney V over on Thread, shout out to you, girl. And I'd asked her what she would choose to do at that point, go to a different silo or go to the city in the distance. And she said go to another silo. But I said, I'm definitely trying the city because I feel like all the silos probably are in cahoots and all of them might be corrupt. Maybe the underground because they have this I don't know, this understanding where they keep their people in the dark about what's really going on. And I would think in order to not expose anything or make their people question anything, as soon as I get to tapping on the glass door or a window, they would just shoot me down. That's what I would think would happen. So I would take my chances and go to the city in the distance. And it could be things going on there, but I don't know. The city kind of gives rebellion. Like it gives me all the people that said, I want to go outside, then got together and have built a little sanctuary of some sort, you know? So y'all watching Silo, I want to know what y'all think. I'm definitely not trying another bunker, okay? All right, that is it for today's video. I have to help my mother schedule her a Uber ride to the airport in the morning. I told her to put the rideshare apps on her phone so she can utilize them when needed. Like now, that she needs to ride to the airport and her car is in this job. But somehow she didn't sign up to be a Lyft driver child, and she got John thinking she about to take him to the airport. So I got to get out of here and get that situated. Let me know your thoughts down below. Let me know your thoughts on everything. This case, Silo, and From. I'm going to ride with From because it's fun to watch at this point. But I'm hoping that they're not about to lose me after this season finale. And if you caught up on Silo, let me know if you go into another silo or you go into the city in the distance and why. Because I'm very curious. Don't forget to like the video, share it with a friend, and I will see you in the next one. Peace. Investigators put in a request for a search warrant of her email address and no more evidence no more evidence. Look at her. Now she want to go out on the patio and she want to make all this noise in the background. Professional electrologist to maintain it, but he failed to do so. Okay, no. Let's just redo the whole sentence. However, it happened. Now she want to bark because she's ready to come back inside. You're not about to be running in and out, Bella. Gotta tell her what my mom used to tell me. And Dr. Dean's, who is Dean's girl? Before you leave, subscribe if you have not. And I will be back here next week. Peace. That is not what I say. That ain't what I say at all. As always, I appreciate you so much for spending your time with me. Oh no. What do I say?